how do you navigate both worlds? Like, you're able to navigate the digital space with TikTok, with Twitter, you're always on it, but you're also in the comic book space and you're navigating, talking to people at cons, all that stuff.
Lexapro. No, I'm just kidding.
Welcome back to DC Studios Showcase. I'm nerd commentator Frankie Smith.
I'm pop culture pundit Coy John Drew.
And here at DC Studios Showcase, we like to create a safe haven for all types of nerds where we can just geek out about DC, TV, movies, comic books. And we have two sets of interviews today. We have actor and comedian Joel Kim Booster, and we have actor, producer, writer Cheyenne Ewulu.
Cheyenne the Geek, very excited to meet her.
I am very excited. I feel like we're on this trend of finding the coolest nerds around and bringing them here. And I think we're in store for a very cool episode. Actually, I know we're in store for a very cool episode.
There's so much that they are both so passionate about, and I'm really curious, like the crossovers, really curious where we agree, disagree, and there's a lot of like legacy in everything they both have to say. So I'm excited about like the eras of nerddom we're gonna discuss.
I agree. I feel like everyone's DC journey kind of starts with Batman. I'm wondering, who's your Batman? Like, who's the one that you feel like formed you? Live action.
I gotta go Bale. Christian Bale.
Coy, you was a grown-ass man with Bale. Okay?
I was in high school, which makes it the exact time you want to go off and be a ninja. Okay. When you're a kid in high school and you're like, what am I going to do after high school? You're like, maybe I'll just explore the world and learn some mystical abilities. Like, that's Batman Begins feels like what every kid dreams of, right? Like, that to me, that totally tracks. 06, that was perfect.
He was a recluse.
Remember they advertised it on the CW and it was like Smallville vibes, that first trailer of Batman Begins? Yeah, Katie Holmes, they're like, it stars Katie Holmes and this guy. Christian something?
I only remember the advertisements for Dark Knight.
It had like Nickelback in it.
What?
We're talking CW. Look up first Batman Begins ad.
Okay, I'll look it up.
It was a Smallville vibe.
I just remember walking into Times Square for something I forgot, and they had this huge poster of The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
No, The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
And I was like, I cannot wait to it.
And that's the one. Like,
and everybody did not believe in Heath Ledger.
I did.
They were like, the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You.
Knight's Tale. I always had faith. I was one of the ones in the message boards, IMDb, when it had message boards, defended Heath to this day. But I will say, I think Pattinson could, with a movie, maybe even just one, but a movie or two, usurp. Because I was so impressed with the Batman.
You said usurp?
Usurp. I think it could dethrone, usurp.
You guys, I don't know if that's
mantle.
true. Coy is getting a little ahead of himself before the guest even comes.
What about you?
Who's mine?
Is it Christian Bale?
It's not Christian Bale. It's actually George Clooney, the incomparable. Okay, he shaped
That's yours,
me.
right?
He formed me. Okay, between him, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Uma Thurman, the most beautiful woman in the world. No one has been that beautiful since, except for Cameron Diaz in The Mask and Sanaa Lathan in Blade.
Oh yeah.
Those are the only two who are comparable. But
bat nipples?
The bat nipples.
Bat nipples is your number one Batman?
Listen. I know I be talking shit about the bat nipples, but I like that there's representation for men who chafe. That there needs to be.
It's a safe place.
There
for
needs,
nipples.
there needs to be visibility there, and I respect him.
You like him as both Bruce Wayne and Batman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he has the gravitas.
That's the distinction, right?
Yeah.
Like some people are good Bruces, some are good Batmans. I think that Bale is both, and I think that when Pattinson forms his Bruce, because I think he consciously didn't, but I'm gonna go Bale.
Okay, well, we want to know what you guys think. Please let us know in the comments below who's your Batman and which one you think is the best at both. Let's kick off to our interview with Joel Kim Booster. You guys may know him from K-pop Demon Hunters, Loot, Scrubs, and the New York classic, Fire Island.
He's also a giant DC nerd. We're talking comics, we're talking animated series, but like his knowledge of Absolute is incredible. I listened to an interview with him and this man knows his stuff. Very excited to talk to him.
I love a good nerd. Let's do it. Welcome, Joel.
Hello.
Happy to be on this show.
I'm so happy. Thanks for having me.
We heard you're a huge nerd.
I am a huge nerd. And I specifically, when it comes to comic books and everything comic book adjacent, I am a DC in my blood since the beginning. First comic book was DC.
What was it?
It was JLA Year One.
Nice.
Mark Waid, Brian
Nice.
Essen.
Mark Waid's still killing it.
I know, and I remember I was like 9 when I got that comic, and I remember the reason I got it was because I was so overwhelmed when my parents took me to the comic book store for the first time. because I had found like a box of comics in our basement, like old JLA International, like stuff like that, like weird stuff. But then they took me to the comic book store, and I was so overwhelmed with like, jumping into something that it was like the #1 that I saw, and I was like, oh, this is easy, and so I can start from the beginning, and that was the start of my lifelong obsession with Black Canary.
I love that. She's out now in Green Arrow too. She's
one of my
back.
favorites.
Yes,
An absolute Green Arrow. Now we also cover pop culture as well. So we were debating this earlier. Who was your Batman in the films?
I'm gonna have to give it to Keaton.
Keaton?
Yeah, because Batman Returns was like I think my first Batman that I saw, and it was so formative in all the probably wrong ways. Just so many images that are locked in my brain from that. But yeah, Keaton probably was my pick for Batman back then. I mean, now I actually was watching. I think Bale is probably.
He said Christian Bale.
I'm a
I
Bale
said
guy.
he was too old for Christian Bale. 'Cause I feel like who formed you like that Batman?
Oh yeah, well so that's why I say
watched
watched
Keaton.
Keaton first, but I didn't feel as connected as to Bale.
I was
what I mean? Like,
fully
I was-
in college when Christian Bale was Batman.
out,
So
yeah.
it was too late. I had already been formed by Keaton.
I was a senior when Begins came out, which was a perfect time because every senior in high school wants to be Batman.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like,
Oh,
this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna travel the world and become a ninja.
Yeah.
Oh.
I actually just watched The Batman on a plane back to LA, and I liked it a lot. I liked it when I first saw it, but I liked it more this time around. And I'm into Robert Pattinson.
I love Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson. We were talking to Kevin Smith, and he said it wasn't campy enough. And I still feel like the Batman is a little campy, like the way
I
they
don't see
talk
the camp.
sometimes.
I'm confused.
The accent is ridiculous sometimes.
Well, let's get this straight.
Camp
Culturally, we have a real issue culturally right now with the definition of what camp even
I agree.
means.
Will you
I
clear
think
it up?
people throw around the word camp with reckless abandon without really knowing what it is. And like, if you want to go back to like the Sontag like definition of camp, and I think it comes back to this idea of trying to be good and not understanding that you're good for the wrong reasons is a big part of it. Like
Yeah.
it is like I'm trying to like the Room is like a
True
classic
camp.
example of
Rocky
true
Horror.
camp because it was like it set out to be good, ended up being entertaining in a really bad way, in a campy way. And so like I think Batman and Robin is really campy.
my
Obviously, like
favorite
that's
one.
what comes to mind when I think of Batman and camp, and obviously Adam West. But like I don't think Batman intrinsically is supposed to be campy.
It
I
depends where
personally
you're
don't because
looking.
I'm a serious Batman man.
But I mean, there's a lot of ridiculous Batman though.
I guess
yeah.
I guess it's grading on the curve though, because like within universe, I love the Batman comics and specifically the Bat family because I love a street level hero. You know, like I love that the stakes are often like not world ending and stuff like that. So like yes, it's so funny to think about because I'm like in my head I'm like he's the most grounded character in the DC universe. You know?
He's fighting some
And
random
but then
clown.
like you take it out of that and think about it in any
Fighting
other
the clay
context.
guy.
Yeah. And it's like, and then you're like, oh right, no, this is very silly.
It's all heightened.
See, but
Yeah.
I feel like to your point earlier, there are moments where Batman sets out to be serious and it ends up being jokey.
Well, and like I think like Joel Schumacher understood this and really went for it in that regard with the bat nipples and like.
He made an opera.
The card,
Like,
the
he's
credit
so
card.
Yeah.
operatic.
My favorite thing about the bat nipples though is that like Tim Burton was fired because they're like you made Batman too weird, and then
movies later.
they're like, oh, okay, here's bat nipples.
Yeah.
Culture shifted, and it was a very different.
different.
Yeah,
Now you're also a fan of Green Lantern.
I am a fan of Green Lantern.
Who's your favorite?
Kyle Rayner.
Yes!
Yeah. I think
Justice for Kyle Rayner.
I think we're generationally very similar.
think so.
And I think like for
So you were in
me,
college for Begins.
I was like,
senior.
I think I'm a year ahead of you because I was a freshman. when
Oh,
Begins
so
came out.
we- that's why Kyle
So-
Rayner.
Yeah. So Wally West and Kyle Rayner, those were the guys for me. And I remember talking to people who were like, 5, 6, 10 years older than me, and they were like, no, like it's all about Hal and Barry, and I didn't get it because I
Yeah.
had experienced Hal and Barry in JLA JLA year one, but when I started picking up Green Lantern and Flash, like it was Wally and it was Kyle by that
Wally
point.
for sure, but I'm a Joe or a Jessica, a Joe Mullen or a Jessica Cruz.
Okay. So
but
the newest, I mean,
Yeah,
of
the
big
newest
it's a
ones.
new, yeah, but it's first time we got girls up in here.
I
It is.
respect it,
I do love Jessica too. My thing is with Kyle is he really delivers on the promise of the premise of the character in that like his
Creativity.
constructs are the most fun. And this is my problem actually with Jon Stewart in the JLA cartoon is like it's so much just shields and lasers.
Yeah.
Shields and lasers.
But I think
And,
that's a
like,
part of his character.
No,
yes,
it
yes,
is.
because he's a
He's
military
serious,
guy. He's very
yeah.
serious.
But that's what makes
Yes.
Kyle Chandler the best one. Kyle Chandler, the other Lantern. That's what makes Kyle Rayner
Yeah.
the best one, is because the whole idea behind it is like the willpower, the imagination, the creativity, and you get an artist in a book about art.
Yeah.
Like I love the meta-ness of an artist being like, what would an artist do? And then drawing art.
I love someone who's like serious and like
Jon Stewart.
existential. Yeah.
Yeah.
And something about I was behind Jon Stewart the minute that he was betrayed by Hawk Woman. You know,
Yeah.
like from then on, I had to ride or die for him. I don't care who came up. I'm like, this is my.
I mean, I will say, like, I don't know if I ever really experienced Jon Stewart in the comic books, like when I was growing up. But like, obviously, like I think for a whole generation of people, he is Green Lantern
Yeah.
because
Especially the
and
animated
like
series.
and because of the animated series, and like I like really like got on board with Jon Stewart because of the animated series, especially as it moved on into like Unlimited and stuff like that. And you really spent a lot of seasons with this character. I think they did a really good job of making him like distinct and interesting because I think like there's a danger there that he could just be Hal 2.0.
Yeah.
But Black Hal, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
like and I think they did a really good job of like defining his character apart from the rest of the Lanterns.
And that's why I'm really curious what the Lanterns take on the show in long form, is because you're pairing this like, a buddy cop duo, and they're gonna have to be so different. And I think that like Martin Riggs, Murtaugh thing we're gonna be doing is gonna be crazy.
Are we going to see Guy Gardner and his horrible haircut?
Yes.
In
I call it a fucking.
He is
It is confirmed.
He is confirmed.
Okay. Okay.
Apparently multiple times.
Wow.
So it's coming.
Not everything needs to be comic book accurate.
I
I
think
think so.
Nathan Fillion was
the
the one,
bold-
because he came on our show and was talking about how he
really?
helped pick the wig.
Oh
like,
my god.
He was an advocate.
Yeah,
for
no,
that.
that tracks. Of
Yeah,
course
he seems
did.
like the
Would
guy.
you would you do a movie and wear?
If if the choice were to be in the movie but you have to wear that wig, yeah, I would do it.
You would do
like
it,
if the alternative was not being in the movie, then hell yeah, I would be.
If you could
Yeah.
be in any like property, like what's your dream fan cast of Self?
Oh wow! I should be better prepared to answer this, but I would want it to be like something a little like C or C tier. Like I would want to be like The Question.
Oh,
like
so
a
much question
series.
love.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love hearing them.
Because again, like I love it when it goes very like granular, like street level, in an office late at night, breaking in and like looking at files, and just like no powers, just
You're so
gusto.
personable though.
Yeah.
Like even when you're mean.
Being maskless.
Yeah,
Just-
I don't know, but even when you're mean and you're things like Lou and
Yeah.
Scrubs, I feel like everyone still wants to be around you. Like the characters still want to be around you.
I appreciate that.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
It is my real self coming through, I guess. But yeah, it's hard for me. It's weird. I grew up and like there were not really that many Asian superheroes like at all, and so like I didn't grow up. It's so weird. It was like such a weird barrier to entry for me to imagine myself as one of these heroes. And so that's why, like, now as an adult, obviously, I'm like, well, there's no rules. You know,
Yeah.
I can be whoever the fuck I want to be. And you're seeing that in casting anyways. But like growing up, it was like, oh, who can I identify with in this? Like Katana?
Katana?
Which honestly, I would be Boy
gonna
Katana.
say, I was like,
I would
Jackie
be
Chan
Boy
is
Katana.
low-key a superhero.
I have a real hot take here.
Oh.
I was trapped in a I was performing stand up at a resort, and it is not the most glamorous job. But so I spent most of the time in my room watching movies, and I rewatched the OG Suicide Squad, and I don't think it's as bad. I think
I
we didn't have anything to compare it to.
I liked the Joker. I liked the Jared Leto Joker. And
I think no, actually,
Yeah.
I would have liked to see like a full movie of that. I don't know if maybe it would have been too much, but I think it was like it certainly was a different take.
And I think it's what the Joker would be right now, like Gen Z Joker.
Yeah.
I think would be like his,
scumbag, like
trying to show he'd probably be streaming while he did like it fit that. And I also feel like the Riddler in the Batman was a jumping off point of like edgelord, gooner.
Oh, I think the Batman Riddler is perfect for that culture. He is everyone on message boards right now.
He was on Reddit, wasn't he? On Reddit?
He was on Reddit. It's exactly the market we have to deal with. That's the world. My hot take is not that hot, but I think the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever could be one of the best Batman movies.
Really?
I think
I don't know if I've seen.
I don't. What's
no, it doesn't exist. Like I mean, he filmed more. Like, it's not released. Like, there is more Schumacher Batman. Because he shot 20 minutes of psychological stuff with him in the Bat.
Yeah.
Like, there's more that exists.
Val Kilmer and him getting, like, a fist fight on set?
Oh, that's ill.
Yeah.
But that's the cut I want to see.
That's why he only got one.
That's why he's the one guy that played it once till George.
Yeah.
But I think that Schumacher, whatever his psychological stuff he was trying to do, and like all those scenes of him like imagining the Bat, all of that stuff could have made a Batman we've never seen before.
Yeah, definitely.
Like to me, that's the cut I want. It does exist, but not in a way we can watch it. I mean, maybe we can watch it.
Maybe we'll see if we can find it. There are other things on my list. That's
true. I'm letting you know my goals.
Now you also watch anime too, right?
Yeah.
What are you watching right now?
I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen right now, along with everybody else. I do not understand the rules of this game.
No one does.
It felt like 4 episodes of explaining the rules of the game. I'm very glad to be in the game right now. I think Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is one of the greatest. Actually, they're one of the greatest pieces of television. Period. I didn't know that they redid Fullmetal Alchemist because I tried to watch the OG, the first attempt at Fullmetal Alchemist in college, and I remember being like, I'm not vibing with this.
They put it out before she finished the manga, so they made up a lot of it.
Like at Game of Thrones.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they got Game of Thrones.
And she asked them to relax. Fun fact, she's actually married. Oh, no, it's not her. I'm sorry, Sailor Moon. I was going to say the mangaka is married to the guy who did Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
That's the Sailor Moon mangaka.
I love, in addition to anime, which I think strongly influenced Absolute Batman, how much you've been an advocate for Absolute as an imprint.
Yeah, no.
What is it you think that makes, especially Batman, I feel like that's the one that, growing up reading Batman, you say he's not rich. I go, that's not Batman. What do you think it is that is about these runs that they can push to such an extreme level but still feel true to the character?
It feels very much like they identified like the core truth of these characters. And then everything else was like on the table, like big swings. And I think that is like comparing it to at least like the original Ultimate Run. Not to talk too much shit today, but it did feel like, in hindsight, like just like sort of like, you know, slight adjustments to certain characters and stuff like that. It didn't feel completely unrecognizable in the way that reading this Batman feels like at once completely unrecognizable, but the core of like who Batman is still there. And so I don't know, like, and the thing is like these worlds that they're creating are so varied and textured, and like it's interesting to see how they're now starting to connect them and like make the world of Superman make sense with the world of Batman, you know, as we come along with that. But yeah, I just think it's like they're allowed to get weird.
Yeah,
they're like having fun with how weird they can get.
Yes.
And I love that they have their own identity. You show me a panel without any characters in it, and I could say, oh, this is from Manhunter, this 100%. Is from this.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just said, like, okay, we're going to make Green Lantern, like, a little bit different this time. And instead, it is like, almost an impenetrable, like understanding of what these the Lantern Corps is now, you know, like, completely remixing it on its head. But still, again, like, staying true to, I think, what fans fell in love with these characters over.
I think our rankings are pretty similar.
I was going to say, who's your favorite Batman?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder
Woman is, I think...
Wonder was my favorite.
It's the most fun to read. Batman would be #1, except it honestly raises my cortisol levels.
It's stressful. It's like watching a Safdie movie.
Yeah, it's a lot. And every page is like, okay, you've just gone through such a journey.
Safdie movie. That is such a good way to put it, because like, it is so, I get genuinely like,
Why
Dude,
is everybody
Scarecrow's so
big?
intense, man.
Everybody's so big and
Or terrifying in a way that's so under your skin. Like Scarecrow's like just got a thing where I'm like, I'm uncomfortable knowing him.
Why does
Yeah.
the Joker look like that?
The
Joker is
We're gonna
crazy.
keep uncovering
I mean,
Nightmare Fuel.
Mr. Freeze, one of the most
Yeah,
fascinating
that was
like
incredible.
remixes that they've done. Like Bane, pretty much still Bane.
Yeah,
But
I was like, I've seen this. I've played these games before.
But great. I mean, yeah. I love those two worlds the most, probably out of all of them. The only one that I struggled with a little bit was the Flash.
Yeah, you said there was too much running.
Yeah,
The Flash. I heard you.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. That's
What else is he gonna do?
There's so much things he does.
Yeah.
Like
I know, but like,
we're all Wally West people. He does plenty.
Yeah.
okay, but I'm down with him running.
I
Let's
think
get back to the roots.
I think for me the Flash and Green Lantern are the two that I'm not as quick to jump on. But Martian Manhunter and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, have you read the Martian Manhunter?
Oh yeah.
That,
I
like,
love it.
I mean, this is the thing about like Martian Manhunter could also be number one too. It is playing with not only like the narrative form of like writing a comic book, but the visuals are
Yes.
unlike anything.
sometimes at odds with each other.
Yeah,
Like what I really love about that book is sometimes it feels like a challenge between the writer and the artist to be like, hey, where are we gonna go?
I feel
And then
smarter
it just
when I read it too, because it's like it's hard to understand.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
It's not a quick
really
read.
Complex.
And
yeah.
the thing is, too, in a moment in time when comic books are competing with so many other forms of entertainment, like that you can engage with, the fact that you open up Martian Manhunter and there are pages where, like, if you don't have the physical comic book,
we were talking about that. You have
Yeah.
to like use the light.
like they're using the medium of like being a comic book in a way that makes it seem vital to get the book. You know, like you can't just like wait for the cartoon or wait for
Yeah.
some adaptation for this. If you want a full experience of what these people are doing, the really interesting stories they're telling, you have to have it like physically.
It's a movie shot on IMAX.
Yeah.
Like
It's a
I
movie
need that
shot.
extra. Like I want to see it.
70mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
Denis
agree.
Villeneuve.
Yeah.
I do want to play a game with you. It is an oldie but goodie. Fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, love
You heard
that.
it? Alfreds, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Alfred.
I'll name
Okay.
them. Andy Serkis, which is the Batman and Alfred.
uh-huh.
Michael Caine, which is the Bale Alfred. Or Michael Go. Is it Go?
Yeah, I think it's Go. And he
Or-
was all four. Which always confused me as a
Michael
kid.
Go, 04, with the hot glasses, the
Yes,
slutty glasses.
Yes. Oh, those slutty little glasses.
Yeah.
And despite that, unfortunately, he gets the chop.
He gets the kill.
He gets the chop immediately
He's
because
he died
I'm
pretty quick.
definitely like they went too far with Andy Serkis. They made him too hot. The like hot Alfred, like down. That's who I'm fucking. And then you gotta marry Michael.
You gotta
Caine.
marry
You
Michael
gotta
Caine.
marry Michael Caine.
Yeah. Speaking of
Are you doing yours
I loved
too?
him. Am I doing more? Mine?
Yeah.
Damn.
If is the game one side, I gotta know.
Yeah,
Like,
well, you
just
go
start
first.
this game.
You go first. You go first then.
All right, I'm gonna fuck Michael Caine because I feel like it'd be a great story, and he seems like he'd be great in bed. Like that man seems like he knows stuff. I'm gonna marry Michael Go because he seems like the gentlest. He was like his bedside manner was incredible. He always took care of his bruises, and I feel like longevity wise, I'm marrying Michael Go, and I feel like killing Andy Serkis would be the best challenge. Like I feel like there's like a sportsmanship to Andy. Like I feel like it'd be
Andy
gladiatorial.
Serkis is channeling the Alfreds where like you remember.
MI6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that kill
he's
would
kind of
like-
he's kind of absolute.
He
Alfred
is.
in a
He's
lot
the
of
way
ways.
the
Yeah,
closest,
like this
100%.
one. Yeah, I
with the
agree.
crazy mustache.
Yeah.
But that would be like all three of those are the challenge.
Yeah.
Like Andy Serkis, the challenge of the kill. Michael Go because it'd be like coming home to, and then Michael Caine. Yeah, so I feel
okay.
confident in that.
For
Michael
me,
Caine would forget he's not gay until halfway through having sex.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's so good at it.
His Twitter is, oh my God. Why do we follow Master Bruce to get back up? Michael Caine, Batman Begins. Like he signs his tweets.
I love
An
it.
angel.
And that's why for me that's the fuck is Michael Caine for the culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
For you know what I mean? For the culture, I have to do it. I have to kill Michael Go. He's dead already.
He was- yeah,
died
he was
a
on-
long
he
time
did
ago.
die, but-
So and then yeah,
Worst
I'm gonna marry.
password ever, by the way. The Bat Computer's password.
Yeah, it was-
A little too accessible, Alfred.
he just learned computers.
We all just learned computers.
I was like,
We're
why
all
they got
trained.
him on this computer?
This was, but they literally put like it must be 6 letters and a character and a number because of Alfred.
think
because
so.
he had a 3-letter password.
We have two verification tools because of Michael Go. We gotta text people now because he was
They're
like,
we gotta lock this
Batman.
down. We gotta, and then I gotta marry Andy Serkis just because it'll be fun. I feel like we'll laugh every day.
Yeah.
We'll have a good time. And he's smoking hot. Why wouldn't you want a smoking hot husband?
All right.
You know, I'm
Talented
secure
man.
enough in myself,
All
I
right.
think. But yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. Please let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me at I Hate Joel Kim on Instagram. I got there before anyone else could. And I'm touring lightly, periodically right now. The dates will always go up on my Instagram, though, in the bio there. So if you want to check and see if I'm coming to a city near you, go to my Instagram.
Thank you. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks
and
for
we
having
hope
me.
to see you again.
Definitely.
That was everything I thought it'd be. He's so cool.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. And different eras.
Yeah.
Also, Kyle Rayner.
I need you to recommend some stuff for me so I can get into him.
Okay, so the end of Hal Jordan, in like the darkness of Hal Jordan, starts with the rise of Kyle Rayner. So you could explore a little bit of why there's layers to Hal and the birth, and I'll give you some
You get me
recs.
hooked
I
up.
got you.
Now, next up, we have a close personal friend of mine, Cheyenne Ewulu. We came up in the nerd space around the same time, but she's way more ingrained in it. She's a writer, an actor, a director, a creator of the Comic Shop series, and there's going to be so much to dissect with her. I can't wait to bring her out.
I'm excited to meet her. She's one of the people that I have like the most mutuals with. That I
Yeah.
don't know if we've ever had a conversation. So I'm excited. Like she's a legend in the space. Excited to talk to her.
Yeah, well, without further ado, let's bring her out. We good?
Wait, is my Batman chain
In there?
showing? Yeah,
we
is
have
it
matching
showing?
chains, you guys.
This could work.
Okay.
You know?
All respect.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're all Batman.
Have to rep my set, you know?
You got welcome, Cheyenne, to our show.
As we talk about repping sets.
But what bigger set is there than DC?
True, very true. This set right here, speaking of sets.
Repping this set.
This is
Speaking
this
of
is
sets.
brand new. We blood, sweat, and tears.
This is
went
a
into this.
nasty set.
Yeah,
like, this
yeah.
is nasty.
I love it. Yeah,
It's bomb.
You've been honestly the pillar of like nerdom for Black
Pillar's
girls.
crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. The two of us started. I want to say I started probably like 3 years after you, but Cheyenne was definitely someone I saw on YouTube in the midst of like Eric Voss's and like there was Cheyenne Ewulu. So I'm so glad to have you here today.
I'm glad to be here. Oh my God, I'm on your show.
You're on my, and you know what? You are our very first Black woman guest ever.
Yes, second time in a row that I'm the first Black woman guest on the
But that's what I'm trying to say. You're a pioneer. You're a pillar of the community. You almost was the first Black person, but Eddie Gathegi took that.
Oh,
Last
Damn it,
season.
Mr. Timberlake.
blasts.
It's so interesting now to be able to talk about nerdom in this way. How do you feel like the nerdom space has evolved?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I feel like with the digital space, it's like evolved a lot. You know, like we were talking earlier about like how we knew each other, and there wasn't a lot. First of all, there was like saturated with men, but then like Black men were like far and few, you know, in between. But then it would be like a lot of Black men and be like, okay, great. But then the Black girlies, like, you know, all of the nerds, all the nerdy Black girls, like we weren't there. And so, you know, I feel like looking from like when I started like in the digital space to now, like it's super diverse. Like there's so many of us. I don't know. I would never imagine like as a kid that I would see the space looking the way it is. You know, I've always wanted to feel that representation as a child, and I, you know, never really got to experience that. And so now as an adult, it kind of like heals something in me, if that makes sense.
I feel like of all the people, you use the internet the way it was intended.
Oh, I hate the internet. But
What?
That's how you use
Coy,
it well.
do you know about the comic shop?
I know I hate the internet. I love. We were really talking in the back, like what you've built and actually actualized it. I think it's so beautiful that you walk the walk and talk the talk and made the thing you set out to make, and it's like thriving. It's so
I
rad.
appreciate it. Yeah, it was really cool. I just wanted to be able to like write a show about a group of friends that I could relate to. And the comic store is like a place that I frequent all the time. And I just, you know, wanted to show that world in a way that I've viewed it for so long. And yeah. Oh, I love that show. It's great.
I love it too. I think what's interesting about it is the way that you depict nerds. You know what I mean? What we normally see for nerds are like the Big Bang Theory or Mallrats. It felt like it was a very specific type of nerd, but like the people in the comic shop are fashionable, they're queer, they're different.
It's much more like Community, which I think is the
you.
direction it
Community
should
is
go.
Thank you.
Community
Thank
is
you.
how
I
you
love
do a nerd
Community.
show.
I love Community, and that's literally I got to meet Dan Harmon at San Diego Comic-Con at the EW party last year, and I was literally telling him, I was like, you don't know, you're the reason I started writing comedy.
It feels like Community.
I started writing comedy because of Community, because that is what that's what I envision a friend group, like a nerdy friend group. This is like not a new space for us, you know. Like we live this life, live this life, breathe this life. I read comics, I watch anime, I do all of the nerdy things, and I was bullied as a kid, you know, for being a nerd. So like I've lived this life, and I wanted to make sure I represented it well. So high praises, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I love that you brought up anime because I feel like even DC is starting to dabble in anime. Have you seen My Adventures with Superman?
No, but from what I have seen, it definitely gives like a lot of like Dragon Ball Z teeth. Like
Have you seen Dragon Ball Z?
I got literally, I only wrote down like 2 questions that I had to ask. I said Dragon Ball Z feels the closest to comics to me in anime from a fandom perspective.
Really?
Because to
Why?
me, it as like a giant world with power scaling and people kind of pick their favorites. And it feels like when you read a comic and you're like, oh, that's my guy. And you can identify and stay with him for longer. And even the pacing kind of feels like X-Men soap opera. Like that, like a long form. And so to me, Dragon Ball Z was the one that I actually like stuck with. Like I've seen every Dragon Ball Z.
Really?
And like I love that world.
Dragon Ball Z was my awakening.
Yeah?
There's a character, Future Trunks, and he was modeled after Justin Timberlake.
Was he really?
Yes.
Is that factual?
Like not like the boy bands. They made him look like a boy band.
I remember reading that Akira Toriyama wanted the girls to get into Dragon Ball Z, and so that's why he designed
He drew him.
Trunks.
That's why he has that crop top.
Leonardo DiCaprio in the 90s.
He's smoking hot. You have to look, but he's like
Romeo and Juliet, Leo would have crushed.
Yeah. He would have looked like it, but yeah, he had a sword,
That
which
was my
like
man.
nobody needs it. Yeah.
So is that your favorite character?
Trunks?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
he's a terrible character, but he's smoking hot.
What are we talking about?
I think he's a great character.
I think he was cool, but
He's like Trunks from
he's
the
like the
trenches?
Nightwing of that world. Like he's attractive.
Essentially.
He's like a
Essentially.
spin-off. He's got like his own story. Probably
always
does a lot of
crying
leg
about
day.
Vegeta. Yeah, I was over it.
He had to get out of the shadow.
My
with
favorite
Vegeta,
is always
like
going to be
Nightwing.
Piccolo.
Okay.
I feel like I have so much to say, but because it's a
why we're
DC
here.
show.
No,
I'm
we literally brought up Dragon Ball Z.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no. I feel like Future Trunks from the trenches is my favorite Trunks.
Really?
But the Trunks, I saw this video where this guy was like, I don't like the Trunks that grew up in a 2-parent household.
I don't either. I don't like that. Yeah,
I was like, I see that, but like, yeah, he needs to, like Trunks with the struggle, who was from the future, from the hard knock, like that's my.
I think that's interesting because you compared him to Nightwing, and I guess
I see
Future
it.
Trunks is closer to Nightwing, but like
in terms of like being a heartthrob, maybe.
you think so? But
Yeah,
also,
100%.
like, the struggle, right? Like they're both orphans,
Yeah.
and like smart.
I'm
I
a
don't know.
Vegeta
I'm trying to like. I'm like,
I'm
how
a
do you-
Vegeta, Prince of all Saiyans.
Trunks,
He's my
Future
favorite
Trunks is
anime
an
character.
orphan though.
He's
Bulma's
his
there,
Bulma's
single
there.
mom, you know.
What do you call a half orphan?
Single parent
Single
child.
parent
Oh, damn.
household.
But he dies. He dies.
Call anyone a half orphan. That is like the other parents like.
He died.
We'd like to apologize to all those single parent households.
Oh man.
Frankie.
Greetings, half orphan.
Okay. And I see what y'all did. But I do think in a way I felt the way that I do about Dick Grayson, where Trunks could have been the one kind of superseding and being the main for a little bit until they didn't.
And he finds his own city. He does it his way. Like
finds
that's
his
why
own
Nightwing's
city.
so interesting because he doesn't follow Bruce's code in failure or success. He builds his own.
Let me ask you, did you like the arc where Nightwing was Batman for a little bit?
I thought it was interesting. I didn't want it to last too long, and I was a
Yeah.
little
Me
afraid
neither.
because
I
sometimes
love-
you read,
yeah.
you're like, well, this could go. But I thought it was good for the time.
Yeah.
And I think it showed the difference in them. Like
Yeah.
you got to feel the difference in the characters.
I think out of all the people, which is not many, but because I know Jim Gordon was Batman for a little bit, which
The big
was,
mech
like,
suit.
really
That was
weird.
weird.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening here? I didn't care for that storyline. I want Bruce. Bruce is the only Batman for me. I'm a
Really?
Batman apologist.
For a long time, I thought that Nightwing would replace.
I
Bruce.
would have hated that.
We're-
I
no.
love Nightwing.
I mean, like, I think in like 50 years, everybody's gonna be like, I think there'll be a moment where they're like, we need something fresh, and it's going to be Nightwing. I think they just need to cast like a really good person and do a real good live action. He's dominating.
I think the Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo run, it really
really showed why he's for different people than Batman fans.
Yeah.
Like there's a different flavor to him, and that run is so good, but it shows their differences. Everybody's always said for years, like, why doesn't Bruce Wayne use his billions to help the city? He does, but they don't read. But the use of it as like Alfred giving Nightwing the money and him trying to work within the system that fails, I thought that was fascinating because that shows that Gotham wouldn't have been saved either.
Yeah.
He's also like, I feel like the Robin too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
the main one. Like when people think of
Sorry,
Robin,
everyone.
they think
Tim
of
Drake
Dick
fans.
Grayson.
Sorry to the Tim
so
Drake.
Sorry to Tim Drake and Damian Wayne.
Or to Damian. Oh,
Stephanie.
No, this is I love all the Robins. I like literally the Robins are why I got into comic books. Like because I wanted to know more about all of them. Like I wanted to know more about Dick Grayson and Tim Drake. I wanted to learn more about Jason Todd. Like those are my guys. Like I don't know. When I was playing Gotham Knights, I don't know if y'all have ever played Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
But people hate that game, but I love it.
they
I
really?
love Gotham Knights. I love Gotham Knights. I thought it was so fun, and it's mostly because of the Bat family. Because I love the Bat family. I love their dynamics, and it gave me all of that and more. And I got to play as Nightwing and kick ass as Nightwing, and Tim Drake.
Tim Drake was good.
He was nasty with that pole. Like he was like.
I played as
Yeah.
I like Barbara. Have you read We Are Robin?
Yes.
I love. Have you?
So good.
Which one?
why would
Robin
I
War
ask
and We
you?
Are
Oh, yeah,
Robin.
yeah.
We Are Robin.
And we are
Have
and
you-
Robin War.
The Absolute Batman 20 that just came out?
No. You're like the third person to ask.
I've been in her ear. We went out for dinner, and I was
Yeah.
like, Cheyenne, you have to read Absolute Batman. I think you're gonna love it. I was gonna say absolutely love it. I'm so sorry. I was gonna be that cheesy.
That's why that's a good title.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. It's different, and all the things that you're talking about that you love, specifically with Batman, I think he's gonna remind you why he's that girl. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Okay.
What to you makes a good comic store? Because I think it's such a personal way to know someone's.
Welcoming aura, not feeling judged. I feel like I've never felt judged in a comic store. I remember my first time entering a comic store was when this was in college. I think I was picking up what is it, Batgirl on Burnside. That was like my first comic book run ever. And I remember being like, oh yeah, I don't know who to start with, but I really love these characters. And one of the guys was like, who was working at that store. This was like in Texas when I lived in Texas, but he was. He just gave me like all this advice and was like, oh, and I also have like these like variant covers. Like if you ever want one, like I can, lend you one. I have so many of them. Like, I don't know. It was always like really welcoming. And since then I've been just like an avid goer of comic stores. And I don't know. I've just never felt any bad energy, even in the LA comic stores that I frequented, like it's just never bad energy. Everyone's like really cool. It's like one big happy family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a like-mindedness. Like once you're through that door, you know that like it's why I like house parties more than bars.
Yeah.
Because there's like to me a comic store feels like a house party. Yeah.
It's very interesting because I feel like the community online versus like actual comic book community are so very different.
Yeah.
How have you been able to merge those two? You're able to navigate the digital space with TikTok, with Twitter, you're always on it, but you're also in the comic book space and you're navigating, talking to people at cons, all that stuff.
Oh. Lexapro. No, I'm just kidding. No, so I feel like people can feel the authenticity because nerds, if you're not authentic, they're not gonna fuck with you. Like I know we are a very hard type of people to please. And I think even though folks might not see me as like the typical nerd, I feel, once I open my mouth, folks are like, oh, okay. She gets it. She's one of us. She's been there. Yeah. And so I think once people like sense that authenticity from me, it's easier to like have those conversations and like make that content and build that audience. Yeah.
What do you think is the typical nerd?
The kid who sits in the back of the classroom with the glasses and the, and the overalls, or I don't even know anymore. I feel like when you watch the comic shop, you can see like the nerds that I hang around like on a daily basis. Like I hang around people who are proud to be nerds, who are like very open about their nerddom and geeky interests, and like I don't know. I've just never, love Big Bang Theory. Shout outs, to Big Bang Theory, but I just wanted to write a show where again I could relate to a group of nerds, which is what I feel like I did with the comic shop.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like y'all are also a great representation
Thank you.
of like what today's nerds are and like should be striving for. Like y'all clearly, wear your nerd badge on your sleeve.
I got a skirt on.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to kind of be a nerd and be out. To your point, you were talking about like being secretly or being teased when we were younger, but now it's like a badge of honor.
I
Yeah.
remember hiding my Superman shirts. Like I'd have like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, like the big three when I was a kid, and I was like an Abercrombie kid. Sorry, but I remember like buttoning up my shirts over Spider-Man or Batman or Superman and like hiding it, but I still wanted to wear it. And like
we
now
grew
it's
up in New York in the age of Dipset.
yeah,
I don't think we could do that.
Yeah,
we
different
could
world.
not.
Very different.
It's a very different thing.
I remember I used to like go to school with my I used to wear like a lot of Invader Zim shirts and like a lot of like geek shirts and stuff. And I would go to school and like I remember people would like point and be like, "Oh, she wear her little brother's t-shirt." Haha. And I'll never forget that. Like I will never forget when every time I would go to school in my animation t-shirts, somebody would always have something crazy to say to me.
So for our last question, and this is a big one, it's very important. You're attending a DC cookout. Who are you hoping to see on the grill? Yeah, hard-hitting journalism.
it is.
John Stewart.
Jon Stewart?
Jon
You think Jon
Stewart.
Stewart's on the grill?
Why wouldn't he?
I think he's too serious.
He's
I don't want him on the grill. He's
he's-
yelling at everyone. He's not letting the kids eat the ribs.
Exactly.
It's
He's
not
gonna
Jon
keep
Stewart.
order. He's going to keep order, and he's gonna make sure nobody's getting too much of what they don't need to be getting. Like he's gonna make
Now I
sure
can't get
all
seconds.
sides are good, all sides of the protein are good. You know what I mean? Like that's Unk. Like I would say.
Corey
Jon
used to get so hard.
I am because I got three, but they're all for different reasons.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna go with the
Who
one.
would all three?
My first instinct was Mr. Terrific because he'd get seasoning right. Like that guy would have so much in like measuring and analytics, and he'd make sure the temperature was right in all the food. He'd make sure all of the sides were like portion ratio wise to be the excellent like blend of like fat and acid. Like he would make it
Yeah.
perfect, and it would only get better through the day.
Okay.
Like usually when you go, there's like a descent in quality. That wouldn't happen, Mr. Terrific. He'd
I
only
feel
get
like
better.
he's a baker and not a.
Well,
not
he's
a
a
cook.
kid, he's like
Yeah.
a chemist.
I,
But I
yeah,
think he'd
I
use
feel
that
like
on the grill.
he'll be measuring the ingredients and like putting them out there.
Okay, don't read me. Mine is Martian Manhunter.
Really?
Yeah, he's been cooking for decades. He knows what's up. He's been around the block.
Okay.
But
He's known for Oreos.
sure.
That does
all right,
not say a distinguished palate.
I think
Sorry.
You would
Oreo.
trust him on the grill?
Yeah,
You would eat a burger
he's-
from him?
First of all, he's reading everybody's mind.
That's
He's
true.
out here. He's
I
like,
don't
what
even have
y'all
to-
want?
that's true.
He's doing it right. If it's not him, I guess Black Lightning.
Okay.
You know, come on, Jefferson is, especially the one who was Skip on the CW verse.
Okay.
You would love to see him on the grill. Okay, whatever. You know, I'm a visionary, you guys. Everybody doesn't see my vision, and that's
I
fine.
see the vision, but I'm gonna stick with Jon Stewart.
You're gonna say, okay,
Yeah.
well, thank you.
And John Johns has the same problems as Mr. Terrific to me, but I
No.
hear
He
you.
gets down. He gets down. Especially the Supergirl, Martian Manhunter. Do you guys?
We gotta have Eddie back
Yeah.
on and see how he grills.
Yeah, see
Eddie,
how he
we
grills.
love that.
He's gonna feel some type of way.
Mine is Justice League Unlimited, Jon Stewart, because I feel like he runs a strict program.
He
like he
I
doesn't
thought
play.
he had gray on the sides, and then I talked to an animator, and he was like, "No, it's a fade."
fade, right?
Yeah, it's a fade.
I did not know it was a fade. I thought it was gray, so I thought he was older.
No.
And then he wasn't older.
I mean,
until
he's
he went bald.
old, but like
I don't think he's old. I think he's supposed to be
Like
like
30s?
30.
I was looking at 40s. Like he looks like
Because
he's
we
in
were
his 40s.
kids.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Everybody's
When you're a
old.
kid, someone 30s
Everybody
like,
old, yeah. But Cheyenne, thank you for
Thank
nerding
you.
out. We've been having so much fun,
Aw.
and it's great to see everything that you're doing for the nerd community and just showing how different we all are.
Congratulations. We got like 80 mutual friends, so it was good to finally
We
meet you.
do. We have so many. That's why I was like, I think we've probably met before.
We've been in the
We
same
just-
room at least
we
at some
just don't
point in
know.
life.
Cheyenne, tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay, well, on the internet, you can find me at Cheyenne the Geek on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Yeah, I'm on all those places. But you can find the comic shop on YouTube for free right now. All 6 episodes. Season 1 is out on YouTube. You can search the comic shop series on YouTube or go to youtube.com/@awkwardvirgotv, which is my production company. YouTube channel. So watch all 6 episodes. It's really fun, and there are a lot of DC cameos
And
in the
references.
show. And references. Oh, especially the references. So
When's your birthday?
September 14th.
15th.
Whoa.
Fuck yeah.
You guys become best friends?
We shared a midnight in common.
Oh my God,
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Well, thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to see whatever you have next for us.
Congrats.
Thank you. This was great.
Wow, I can't believe we got a full day of just nerding out. For those of you at home, if this is your first time joining us, DC Dispatch is where we take your comments that you leave on the YouTube or that you address directly to us, and we answer them here. You know, we said we were going to involve you, and this is how. Join us. So let's get started. At Old Hollywood Fan 8009 says, I'm with her. Ooh, he's talking about me. I'm with her. It's a tie for me for when it comes to Bruce Wayne. I love a tall, dark, and handsome, so it's Ben Affleck and George Clooney for me.
Okay. I mean, it's not like Christian Bale's short, but like
He
Ben
is short.
Affleck's a giant.
He's short for Batman.
Like Ben Affleck's a tall guy. I get that. Like
Batman's
Ben Affleck's,
tall.
Yeah. So I get what they're saying, but I don't think of George Clooney as tall like I think of Affleck is tall. Affleck's like a statue.
He is a statue.
You know what I mean? He's a big guy.
But if I saw a picture of George Clooney and one of Christian Bale, I would think George Clooney is taller.
I don't know if I've ever thought about it.
See?
I don't disagree,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I've ever.
These are things you have to know if you're a straight woman.
It's true. That's true.
Look at a picture and know how many apples tall.
How many apples tall is Christian Bale?
Yes. Next up is at Real Drunken Fist. So the first part of the question is, will we talk to directors?
Yes.
Which we just talked.
Episode 3, Greg
Yes.
Gillespie.
And he was incredible. He talked to us about practical effects in Supergirl.
We had that James Gunn guy on last season.
Who was that?
He directs some stuff.
A little indie director.
Yeah, he's
you
coming
know?
up. You'll hear about him.
Yeah, you'll hear about him soon. And then the second part of that question is, the Mortal Kombat games have DC characters in them. Will there ever be a crossover in live action?
You know, you and I have talked about the DC Sonic game. We've talked about DCKO. You pointed out like Sub-Zero. I don't know personally if there will ever be the budget that we'd want for like a Justice League amount of characters. Just as a fan, if we were having Mortal Kombat and there was like 10 fighters on the Mortal Kombat side, I'd want like a Justice League level of other side, and I don't know if we'd get that in our rating.
The only thing I can think that I would find entertaining personally is if we find out that Jimmy Olsen has been taken into another universe
And it's the Mortal
turned
Kombat
into
universe?
Jax. Yeah, because it's the same guy. It's the same guy. So that's the closest I would see. But
God Brooks as himself.
as himself,
I like that.
who becomes Jimmy Olsen, I think it'd be pretty cool. Or like he was becoming I don't want to get into it, but the answer is we don't know because we
don't know.
are
Above our
lowly
pay grade.
hosts. But you know, the sky's the limit.
Sequels be
We
happening.
never know. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of DC Studios Showcase. You can find us anywhere there are podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube or on HBO Max. And we have new episodes air every other Friday.
Please leave 5 stars on Spotify. It really, really helps. And in those comments on YouTube and on Spotify, I'd personally love to know what parts of the show you're really liking. I'd love like your feedback because it helps us shape what we're doing. So let us know your hot takes and your judging of the characters. Let us know.
You can reach out to us directly at Fantastic Frankey, FRANKEY.
And I'm at Coyjandreau, COYJANDREAU, all over the internet.
Yes, or you can drop it in the DC Discord or hit up DC Official and just, once again, make sure you tag us so we see it.
Also, if you want to check out any of the comics we mentioned here today, and there were very many from both guests and us just now, please check out your local comic shop. It really helps the small shop stay alive. We talked about Kevin Smith's last time. That was 30 years. That is not common. So keep comic stores alive. And if you want to read them digitally, you can check out DCUI, which is the DC Universe Infinite app, and that is DC's online comic book catalog, and I highly recommend it. It's an incredible resource with tens of thousands of comics.
Until next time, I'm nerd commentator Frankie Smith,
I'm pop culture pundit Coyjandreau.
and we'll see you very soon.
This was an OBB sound production for HBO, hosted by me, Coyjandreau, and Frankie Smith. Executive producer for HBO is Becky Rowe. Executive producers for DC Studios are Gary Barbosa and Philip Soponides. Executive producers for DC are Mike Pilata and Victor Diaz. Executive producers for OBB are Michael Ratner, Scott Ratner, and Toby Lawless. Producer for HBO is Aaron Kelly. Producer for OBB, Toby Lawless. Research producer, Sam Harrison. Production manager, Kevin Lynn. Production coordinator, Terry Kraft. Associate producer, Sam Harrison. Talent booker, Aaron Bandler. Editor, Adam Grabarnik. Post-production supervisor, Mariana Chrysostoma. Assistant editor, Mark Alcacid. Production accountant, Bobby Hanna and Zachary Steinberg. Digital content producer, David Jimenez. Director of Photography, Heath Gresham. First Assistant Camera and Camera Operator, Chris Piper. Key Grip, Sam Satoski.
Production Designer, Liz Klikowski. Art Director, Michelle Hall.
Sound Mixer and Editor, Josh Falcon. On-Set Mixer, Darren Bowling. Hair and Makeup Artist, Kendall Shannon.
Production Assistant, Terry Kraft. Senior Director, Creative Development and Social Strategy, Lenore Castro. Manager, Creative Development and Social Strategy, Sharif Bakari. Special thanks to Graphics and Artwork, HBO Max Concept and Design Studio. Special thanks to illustrations by Ariel Cologne.